watching a very special interview with Union Minister of State Jitendra Singh. Mr. Jitendra Singh is from Jammu and Kashmir, an MP from there, and of course he has the very crucial portfolio of being a Minister of State in the Prime Minister's office. Why we have him here taking questions from all of us is because his home state has been in a state of flux and tension over the last year or so. It has seen increasing tensions. So perhaps to understand what's happening there and to look at how the government is looking at that crisis, Mr. Singh has very kindly agreed to take a few questions. So thank you for agreeing to take questions from the students and from NDTV. So first of all, I just wanted to ask you, sir, that of late, the impression seems to be that the whole situation there, we've seen rising levels of violence there. I think you might accept. It has become even bad to the sense that, for example, my colleague was reporting from the encounter site in Kupwara, and he said that that place sees a lot of the locals used to really support the forces over there, but for the first time they came to the encounter site and they wouldn't leave because they wanted the militants' bodies. They felt that it could be somebody from their villages. Is the government looking at it as a crisis which may be spiraling out of control, sir?
No, certainly I would not agree that it is out of control, and I can tell you with all the confidence in my command that sooner than later things would be fairly under control and everything would come back to normal.
When we see one of the big stories that have been there this past few days, sir, is the Chief Minister's statements. The Chief Minister's statement seems to have, talking about stone pelters, seems to have brought about a little bit of a disagreement between your party members in the state and the PDP. When she said that, you know, there must be dialogue, there should be restraint amongst the forces when they deal with stone pelters, that, you know, at that time the spokespersons of the BJP in the state said that that's not true at all. You can't. You've held back the forces by dealing with them with restraint. How do you see this kind of difference in their
No, there's
talk?
absolutely no difference. Absolutely no difference, and I think the silver streak to this is that the common man in Kashmir, including the common youth, very strongly wishes the normalcy to be restored, the peace to be restored.
Yes.
In fact, the youth of Kashmir very earnestly wishes to be a part of the development journey led by Prime Minister Modi. He doesn't wish to be left out, and he's awakened enough, and because of all the means of information available these days, he is well aware of the enormous dividends and enormous opportunities available under the Modi regime to the which are particularly youth centric, and therefore he would not like to be left out. It is just that some of them may be misguided, or there may be certain hostile elements in play, of course, from the hostile foreign countries as well, including Pakistan, as you said. There could be some other considerations also which could be also playing a part, but in heart of hearts, every right thinking youth in Kashmir wishes normalcy to be restored, and that is, I think, the biggest asset, and we would see that happening very soon.
But do you think their alienation has increased in the past few months?
No, if at all, then it's not on account of the government of India.
No.
It's not also on account of, it may be on account of the disturbance generated or exported from Pakistan, from other countries.
Okay.
That also could lead to this kind of feeling of disenchantment. So you cannot
Of course.
so simplistically draw a conclusion.
No,
and
for
therefore
sure.
I think the as I said, Kashmiri youth inherently is a peace-loving youth, and given the kind of scenario that India is passing through now, would understand his stakes very well, which are there with the rest of the mainstream India.
So what, I mean, that's what we're trying to, of course, what you're saying is totally correct, sir, and of course, Prime Minister's statement was seen as historic, where he said that youth should decide to choose between tourism and terrorism. But how would you explain all of those people coming out at encounter sites and pelting stones? How? Because it seems to have some kind of backing. They are not all, you know, foreign elements.
There may be very many factors, most of which I may not be able to actually elaborate on a television channel.
Okay.
Of course, there could be a mercenary element, to put it just in brief, which could be a mercenary element sponsored from certain quarter. There could be a propaganda element which is happening very professionally. We have now identified even the studios across the international border set up in the Pakistan soil, which are perpetuating this propaganda. The moment an encounter starts, they start blowing out, that run to the social media and the other things.
Yeah.
So I don't have to actually, it's not right on my part to elaborate on that, but there are a number of factors which would make it very conclusive that it is not an indigenous incident or an indigenous happening as you are trying to, or some quarters are trying to make it appear.
Right.
So to say that this is something of an indigenous movement happening is quite out of context.
So those two statements of the local BJP spokesperson and the Chief Minister, it looks to an outsider like me, sir, it looks like they're...
I think because of too much of micro-analysis by the media makes it appear in a different way.
But all is well with the government.
No, not only all is well in the government, I think it's largely from the society, because now we can't function in isolation. Even these young boys and girls will bear me out that you have to engage the youth. What's wrong? But at the same time, you'll also bear me out that if a youth is pelting stone at me, how do I engage? Even if your own son or daughter is pelting stone at your papa, mama, how would you do? What would you do? Mama would first slap the child and then talk. Here we are not even doing that. Our soldiers are getting killed. So why are you not talking from a social point of view? So, in fact, I would salute the kind of restraint, the kind of agony, the kind of injury, the kind of sacrifice our brave soldiers are ready to bear simply to ensure that they do not cause harm to these young boys and girls. And not only that, the very next day if a flood happens, they are ready to come to rescue, to lift them out of the flood-hit areas. I think it's a remarkable example that Indian security forces have set, and the nation is eternally indebted to them. And the entire country also realizes that. It's only a handful of those who have a vested interest in thinking otherwise. And I think, and I will also appeal through you,
yes, sir,
it is also the responsibility of media to exercise certain amount of discipline, to do a course correction, because media is the opinion maker.
So how do you mean course correction?
Course correction which would be in the interest of the nation. And this is not something that we are asking for extra. It's also not something that we are asking for anything untoward. This has happened in the most advanced nations of the world, the most advanced democracies, whether it is United States, whether it is the United Kingdom. Democracies which have existed for centuries together have drawn bottom lines at social level, at media level. So far, not more. But here we don't have bottom lines. You abuse India and you are part of a debate.
So you're saying that, okay, not allow separatists to be part of any TV channel or something?
I would not say that. I would ask you to do an introspection. If you think it is not right, then don't do it. But if your heart and conscience says that it's not right to do it, but I can do it because it forms a good subject, then maybe you are doing injustice to your own conscience. Because as Indians, or for that matter, I'm not trying to be philosophical. I also don't wish to sermonize, not at all, to these young boys of 20s. They would not listen to sermons even from their parents. I'm giving you the example of the most advanced democracies. If they have bottom lines, where have we gone? We have become even more developed than them. You abuse India and you are there, everywhere, in social media, etc. And if you say I am an Indian, you don't make a news. Of course, when a man bites dog, it's like that. It's just like saying, I am son of my parents. That doesn't make much difference. If I say, no, I should have a DNA test to find out if my father is my real father, then it becomes a subject for debate. So this kind of perverted approach, I'm not accusing anybody, because all of us are part of the same society, whether we are anybody from politics or from any other profession, or students, we are part of the same society. We are actually an evolving society. We are just 60, 70 years old democracy, which is a very small age in the life of a democracy. In the life of a human being, it sounds big. after 60, you think you are on borrowed years. Something inside you starts telling. So then you think, "Arey sahab, ye karna tha, kuch nahi ho raha," because you think aapka kuch nahi hoga. But when the history of a nation is written, 60, 70 years does not even form footnote in a chapter. So we have yet to evolve to a level. Now, for example, United States is a conglomerate of so many nations. Atlanta annexed here, some of them annexed, some of them conquered, some of them attacked. Do they ever discuss? But here we open closed chapters. And if the chapter is closed, we try to again open it. Therefore, I think all of us, even those in the politics, who have a bigger responsibility, I admit that, because in Indian milieu, politicians are heard more loudly and their impact also goes far, because maybe it may take another 2 generations for us to draw a line where we would not accord the kind of importance that we accord to a politician today. But certainly the politician also needs to be more responsible, regardless of the political affiliations, regardless of the political ideology, regardless of the political beliefs.
Yeah. So they have lots of questions, but I just wanted to say that in the US, so you talked about US, but in the US they are openly, people come on platforms and they criticize the president and all that.
No, they do not. They do not. I'll just give you an example. Okay. After the 1965 war, when President Lyndon Johnson was the president after Kennedy's assassination, and 1965 war had just happened over here, again this thing started in India. Referendum, Raishmari, this, that, in Kashmir. And in a press briefing, because America, there were 2 blocks that time, the US and USSR, and one of the Indian journalists had the courage to put this question to the president. Just I was saying, sir, if that is the case, in your country also you have certain states. So he said, look here gentlemen, that's a closed chapter. We don't open closed chapter. So the freedom of press there, or freedom of expression there, is of a different level on different subjects. It is not the freedom to question the very existence of your country or nation. You have all the freedom, I agree with you, but the bottom line of nationalism is drawn to the extent that even if multiple nationalities settled over there, they would not go beyond saying that I am an American. Nobody would say I am not American.
Sure.
Nobody would say I am something else and then American. So that freedom is not there. And it's not by compulsion.
So
that's what I'm saying. It's by evolution. No, I'm not saying it not be aired, because we are not a dictatorial state. I am saying we are evolving. We are evolving. We are yet to evolve. And societies take many generations to evolve. हमारे शास्त्रों में लिखा है तीसरी पीढ़ी में संस्कार बदलता है. And I'm seeing this happening. This is तीसरी पीढ़ी. And they have changed. Okay. They have entirely changed. Why you gave these results in Uttar Pradesh? Why you gave there? Because you are the guys. You are youth voter. You comprise 65% population. You rise above caste, creed. You don't get affected. Your elders were getting, my generation was getting. So now you have to show the way.